Okay, so I'm going to show you today how to draw a realistic eye. The video goes kind of fast, so pause it as we go along if you need more time. We're going to start by drawing the outside shape of the eye, which some people would compare it to a football or a lemon shape. Just be sure to put an extended area on one side to represent the tear duct. Draw a curved line to show where the eyeball will be, and then a line across the bottom parallel to be the water line. I draw a circle or part of a circle as the iris or the colored part of the eye. And then I add a couple of random shapes here to show where the highlight or the shine is shining onto the eyeball. And then a circle showing the pupil. Shade the pupil in a circular manner as dark as you can get it. The circular shading is going to add to the illusion that it looks like it is dimensional. Okay, when you're done shading the pupil in, the next part that we're going to do is we're going to move on to the iris. And if you have a mirror handy, you'll notice that if you look at the iris or the colored part of your eye, you'll notice that there are a variety of colors. But all of those colors look like they radiate out from the middle. That's what I'm going to do next. Just kind of fixing up my circle here. So I'm going to go from the inside out, just back and forth, kind of lightly at first. And do you see that I change my pencil as I make my way around so that it all is radiating out from the middle. If I don't touch the outside edge, it's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. It won't really be noticed later on. And then I use a flicking technique, and I flick darker lines just every so often, kind of randomly, from the middle out. And then I'm going to go from the out in. Okay, now I'm going to draw the dark line or the charcoal line around the outside of your iris. And I'm going to shade from dark to light as I blend in and I come to the middle of the iris. So dark to light all the way. Don't forget to avoid the spots that you have designated as the shine or the white highlight. Okay, so I go from the outside in, and then I'm going to go from the outside or from the inside out. So I'm going to go from the pupil out into the iris. Try to make all of your strokes in the same shape or the same line as, or the curve that of the pupil. So now I'm going to shade the white of the eye. This is one of the big mistakes that we think the white of the eye is always white, but it has dimension. So I'm going to start at the tear duct and shade kind of dark and keeping my strokes curved, and I go towards the iris. Dark to light. And when I get to the iris, it should be the lightest there is. Try to blend this and make it as smooth as possible. It's kind of hard to do with a sharp pencil. You might have to lay it over on the side. I didn't do that here, but it would make it a lot smoother. Don't be afraid to go pretty dark on the corners, though. Okay, now I'm going to shade the water line. And the water line, the strokes need to be straight across or horizontal. Same thing, dark on the edges and then lighter as it gets to the middle. The most important thing is to make it horizontal, very straight horizontal lines. I'm just cleaning it up here between the water line and the eyeball. Okay, now for the tear duct, I usually just draw in kind of a little sphere inside of there, just to show that little piece of flesh that's at the inside of the tear duct. And I'm going to shade that in just like it was a real sphere. So dark on the outside, lighter in the middle, and I leave a little bit of a white shine in there to show kind of that it is, wet. And then just shade the area around it a little bit darker to look like it's blending in with the eyeball. Okay. Now we're going to draw the top lid line. This is different for everyone, so pay attention to what yours looks like. It's the crease where the top lid comes down. When you shade this part, you're going to go dark to light from bottom to top. So where it's next to the eye, it's going to be a little bit darker, and then as I go towards that crease line, it gets lighter. Try to make this as smooth and blended as you can. And then from that crease, dark at the crease and lighter as you go down. Gives the illusion that it has dimension. Same thing on the bottom lid. At the crease line, dark to light on your way up. Okay, now for the top part, I'm going to go from the crease to up and dark to light. All right, as I shade the skin around the eye, I'm going to leave a white area around that pupil. There's a little piece of skin there that kind of sticks up and captures more light. So we don't want to shade the skin color all the way up to the tear duct of the eye. We want it to have a little bit of a white, kind of a halo or white area around that, and then shade around that. And then that part goes into your nose. So it's going to be pretty dark there because your nose is going to shade that. All right, now everything has a shadow. So your eyelid also is casting a shadow onto your eyeball. So right underneath the line of your top lid, you're going to go really dark, shading dark to light into the eyeball or on top of the eyeball. And don't be afraid to get really, really dark here. The darker it is, the more realistic it looks. Okay, now for the eyebrow, measure about the top of the tear duct to around the outside, and that's the shape of the eyebrow. Start out with just drawing a guideline, so I'm just going to go with a single line. You can see that at the peak of the eye, or the widest part of the eye, is where the highest part of the eyebrow is. Now, the hair, the eyebrow hair, from the tear duct to the peak, they all lay over kind of sideways, and then at the peak they turn directions and start going in a down direction. So they kind of go up until the peak, and then it turns down as it gets across the peak. And then just fill in. I'm using kind of the same flicking technique as I did in the eye, just to fill in however thick the eyebrows are. Same thing goes with the eyelashes. You'll notice that I start the eyelashes on the top of the lid, they go down into the eyeball, and then out. They always go away from the tear duct. And you can be kind of random with these. The more random they are, if they cross over or touch, they look a little bit more realistic. Have a few of them come into that white shine or that white highlight that you left. And then the bottom ones are the same, always coming from the tear duct and going out. Do you notice where the eyelashes are? They're not on that water line, they're just below. And they don't have to be all lined up in a row perfectly. Add a few more hairs into the eyebrow just to make it a little bit more full or dense. And that's it. There's your